Hi everybody, Dan Illman here. The holidays are right upon us and DRF is offering the deal of the year. 20% off Formulator and Classic Pass performances, clocker reports, digital paper, DRF picks, and much, much more. The coupon code for our Black Friday sale, BLFRI22. Visit shop.drf.com for details. Sale ends soon, so don't you dare miss it. Dan Illman here, taking a look at race number 9 at Aqueduct on Saturday, the Grade 2 $300,000 Red Smith. We're going 1 3/8 on the inner turf. Let's take a look at this field. We're hoping the weather holds out in New York for one more graded stakes race on the grass before the turf horses hibernate down to South Florida for the winter. A big field expected for the Red Smith, 12 in the body of the race. The 13 and 14 are main track only runners. We'll look at the Timeform US pace projector. In this marathon race, I'm not expecting a very fast pace. I won't be surprised if a horse like the 4 Astronaut is close to the pace. I do think the 12 Cold Hard Cash can get up close, but I'm not really expecting a fast pace. Beacon Hill showed speed 3 starts back, going 1 1/8. To me, he's more of a mid-pack type, but maybe he just makes the lead by default. A fast pace would help some of these closers. It doesn't look like there's going to be a fast pace, and it'll be interesting to see how Arad Ortiz rides the number 1, Highest Honors, who's coming off of a good third in the Grade 3 Sycamore. He's a horse that has seemingly found himself since switching to the grass and really stretching out in distance for trainer Chad Brown. Now, he tried to get close to the pace 3 starts back in the Grand Couturier, where he was up close to Channel Maker. They weren't going fast at all, and he ran okay to be third behind Soldier Rising, who's also in this spot. This is going to be his 3rd race off of a short layoff. I think he's a little bit more tactical than he's shown on paper, but I also think he's more effective from off the pace. He earned a 97 Beyer speed figure last time out when running 3rd in the Sycamore. For him, a lot of times it's the break. He can be a bit tardy from the start, and if he breaks slow here, I just can't imagine Arad rushing him up into a forward position. He's one of the closers in this race. He does have some potential for Chad Brown. He's 5-1 on the morning line. The number 2 is Daunt. We're going to watch his last race. Belmont at Aqueduct, 1 3/8. This is a first level allowance. He just gets up in the shadow of the wire. The pace was solid. I thought he sort of moved into the teeth of the pace in here, and he's very game to win. Now he's going to step up in class. He's a 3-year-old that's run in 2 prior graded stakes races to no avail, although he was in against the very tough Nation's Pride 2 starts back in the Jockey Club Derby. Distance isn't an issue for Daunt. He has some upside potential. He's 50-1 on the morning line, and maybe he'll show a little bit of speed as he did in the Jockey Club Derby. Must prove that he can step with these older graded stakes horses. Balthus is up next. Liked what he did 2 starts back at Saratoga when he won a 2nd level allowance, prompted the pace, eventually relaxed into a very nice spot, saving ground in the pocket entering the first turn, split horses, and got there despite swapping leads a couple of chimes in the stretch. They ran him in the Sycamore last time out. He didn't have a very good trip in that race, and he was running on to be only beaten 1.5 lengths. This horse, also trained by Chad Brown, has a lot of upside potential. He's only raced 7 times. He's very lightly raced. I think he's yet to show his best, and as we saw 2 starts back, Balthus can get close to the pace. Maybe Manny Franco's going to sense that the pace is not expected to be fast, and he'll send Balthus. Had some trouble last time out, has some upside. Astronaut is up next. This is a horse that shipped in from Southern California and really outperformed expectations in the Grade 1 Joe Hirsch Turf Classic. We're going to watch that race right now. Now, he got up close to the pace. The horse on the lead, Bye Bye Melvin, just tried to speed pop this field. Astronaut sat in 2nd. And while no match for Bye Bye Melvin, who was loose on the lead, and for Warlike Goddess, is one of the better longer distance turf horses regardless of sex, Astronaut ran pretty well to be 3rd. He earned a career best 100 Beyer speed figure. He showed the sort of speed that would play very well in this race, and he's a good price with an aggressive rider. Kendrick Carmouche retains the mount. He's 8-1 on the line. Shawdy goes out for Jorge Abreu on a 2-race win streak. Now, his most recent race was on dirt. It was a race washed off the turf. He was very game to win that race. We'll go back to his turf win. 2 starts back. First level allowance going 1 3/8. First time they really stretched this horse out in distance. It worked out well. He liked the distance. He also seemed to like that there was a solid pace. They went 4 1:48 flat to the half in this longer distance race. Set things up nicely for Shawdy, who got up late. He is in career form right now for a very underrated trainer, but he's also taking a pretty big step up in class. The 6 is Mooney Love, and we're going to watch Mooney Love's most recent start. This is his North American debut. First level allowance over the summer at Saratoga. He set off with a pace, and he looked good in the stretch as the favorite. This is a horse that was a stakes winner in Germany. Distance, I think, is going to be his friend. While he won that race at 1 1/8 at Saratoga, these Europeans just seem to improve going longer, and he's run some decent races in the past going longer distances. I think Mooney Love is sort of an X factor in this race. We're not sure how good he is just yet. That 91 Beyer speed figure from his last race, I think, can certainly be improved upon. Can he adapt to the pace scenario? That, to me, is sort of the question mark, because a lot of these European horses, they like to take their time. They like to make one run. This horse did show speed overseas, came from off of it in his North American debut. Mott Rosario, 12-1 on the morning line. Reigning Spirit is up next. Let's watch his last race. Second level allowance at Keeneland. He got, I think, the right setup here, going 1.5 miles. I thought the pace was pretty solid for the distance. It may not look that way. 50-3, 116 and change, but Reigning Spirit's going to come flying down the track to win by a nose. Nice to see him get up. He'd been compromised by pace in some other races. I'm not sure he's the best closer in this spot, but he's coming into this race in very good form for a very good trainer in Al Stahl. And if he gets the right trip, if he gets the right setup, maybe at a price, he can come charging late and at least sneak into the bottom of your single race exotics. Temple's a really cool horse. He's earned over $700,000 in his career. And the one good thing about Temple is he has tactical speed. He can lead if necessary. I think he's better when he's sitting just off the pace in the second flight, and that would be a very comfortable trip in the Red Smith. Second last time out in the Sycamore, the race we're going to show you right now, a race where he came with a run to finish second behind Highland Chief, who just had a perfect trip down towards the inside. Temple didn't have that sort of trip. He might have actually been best if the trips were reversed with Highland Chief. Temple won the McDermott earlier this year, showing that tactical speed. He is a horse at 8-1 on the morning line that you're going to want to consider, because he has very fast races in the past. He's very capable at this distance. He's won at Aqueduct in the past. There are lots to like. 8-1 on Temple. Up next is Soldier Rising. And Soldier Rising's running style often puts him in a little bit of a problem, as it did last time out in the Joe Hirsch. It was a race where he sort of settled near the back of the pack, and that's just Soldier Rising's running style. Manny Franco saved ground all the way around. He tried to get through down towards the inside. He ran into a little bit of traffic in mid-stretch, then split horses and finished with a decent gallop out. I don't think he wins with a clean trip, but I think he's a lot closer than a dead heat for fourth. I think this horse has shown a lot of ability. Third in the Sword Dancer, 2 starts back behind stablemate Gufo, and you always had the feeling that this horse had more upside than Gufo and might eventually surpass that extremely talented runner in the Clement barn. Now he's got to do it. 2 consecutive triple-digit Beyers. Race flow might be against him. He's going to have to work out a trip, but I do like his kick. He's going to carry 124 for Clement. This time, Jose Ortiz takes them out. Beacon Hill comes off a second-place finish in an off-turf race, the Japan Turf Cup. There was a blazing pace on in the Japan Turf Cup, and Beacon Hill kind of made the first run into the teeth of the pace, made the lead, and then succumbed to a deep closer named Armando R. The problem is, that's Beacon Hill, or at least that's been Beacon Hill recently. He finds one better, and you can argue that maybe he has a little bit of hang in him. I still like some of his races. The point of entry at Belmont in 2021 I thought was a very good performance, where he pressed several other horses and he was very game inside the winner and just dropped a decision that day, finishing second, beaten a half length. His tactical speed plays well. I wish he had a little bit more desire in the stretch, but he's a horse that just needs a little bit of a Beyer boost. He's a little bit slow on figures. The 11 is Dynadrive. I think he's a little bit better than he looks on paper. Dynadrive last time out ran 9th in the Knickerbocker. That race was a slow-paced race. He never got involved. King Cause, the leader, was right up close all the way around, and I just think he was pace compromised. And then the Bernard Baruch 2 starts back. I think he was probably just overmatched going a shorter distance. His race in the Lure 3 starts back was pretty good, where he saved ground near the back, altered course back down to the inside in mid-stretch, and just got up late. It was a really nice ride from Eric Consell. Another closer that needs a little bit of pace luck. I'm not sure he's the best closer in this race, but I think he's dirtied up somewhat. Cold Hard Cash, the New York bred, is up next. He was in an open third level allowance last time out. Let's watch that race. He finished second and he got up close to the pace. And I think it would behoove Jose Lezcano to try to get up close from this far outside post so he doesn't lose too much ground going into the first turn. He was second in this race behind a Tone, who is a real solid horse. He was second in the Mohawk 2 starts back. The distance is a little bit of a question mark for this horse, although when he stretched out to 1.5 miles at Belmont last year, he ran really well from close to the pace. So maybe all this horse has been waiting for is to get all the way back out in distance. Cold Hard Cash should be close to the pace from an outside post, steps back up into the graded stakes ranks. Kinetic Sky, I Am the Law, 13-14 entered main track only. Both contend if this race is washed off of the turf. Top pick time, I'm going with Soldier Rising. Little bit of trouble last time out. I just think he's a little bit classier than some of the horses in this race. He's going to need a trip. He doesn't have a lot of early speed, but I've been impressed with what I've seen in his last 2 races, and with a clean trip, if he can get to the outside and finish, I think he's going to be finishing best of all in the Red Smith. He's my top pick. One of 2 graded stakes races on Saturday is the Red Smith. We're hoping the weather holds out for the turf course one more week in New York. Good luck.